Let's talk about power. Not the power you have in the boardroom or the gym, but the physical, primal power you feel in your own body, rooted at your very center. Have you ever been in a moment of intimacy and felt a subtle lack of stability? A feeling that your foundation isn't quite as solid as your desire? It's that frustrating sense that you don't have the deep, physical control you want, that your body isn't fully anchored. This isn't about strength in your arms or your chest. It's a deeper, more fundamental feeling of being disconnected from your true powerhouse. If this sounds even vaguely familiar, I want you to pay very close attention. That feeling of being unanchored isn't in your head, and it's not a sign of declining desire. It is a direct physical symptom of a modern epidemic I call gluteal amnesia. Your brain has, over time, forgotten how to activate the most powerful muscles in your body properly. Entire body, your glutes. Think about your average day. You sit in a chair to eat breakfast. You sit in a car or on a train to commute. You sit at a desk for 8, maybe 10 hours. You come home and you sit on the sofa to relax. Your chair has effectively become a cage for your glutes, keeping them stretched, inactive, and neurologically suppressed. Hour by hour, day after day, we are systematically training our body's powerhouse to go into a profound sleep. Here's why that is catastrophic. For your erectile health. When your glutes, the rightful king of your entire pelvic region, are asleep on the job, your body is forced to compensate. It calls on smaller, weaker, and less equipped muscles to provide stability. Your lower back muscles scream in protest, and most critically, your pelvic floor muscles, which are designed for fine-tuned, subtle control, are forced to constantly clench and overwork just to keep your pelvis from becoming hopelessly unstable. This chronic clenching creates a wall of high tension right where you need absolute openness and relaxation. It constricts the very blood vessels that must dilate to create and sustain a firm erection. It's like having a V8 engine, but the chassis of the car is so wobbly and unstable that the power can never be put down on the road. The system leaks energy and quite literally can lead to the venous leakage that prevents an erection from lasting. However, this is where the story takes a complete turn. This is not a permanent defect. My name is Dr. Anya Sharma, and for the last 10 years, I have been working with men. How to solve these exact mechanical problems to reclaim their physical power. You are not broken. You simply need to wake up a sleeping giant. The wiring is all still there. The signal has just gone dormant. In the next section, I will give you the precise instructions to send the wake-up call and turn your pelvic powerhouse back on for good. All right, it's time to send the wake-up call. This isn't a grueling workout designed to leave you exhausted. This is a precise neurological repatterning sequence. We will use 3 simple foundational movements to reactivate, integrate, and then strengthen your glutes. The entire goal, here is the quality of the contraction. I want you to focus on the feeling, on the mind-muscle connection. It's better to do 5 perfect glute-focused repetitions than 20 sloppy ones. Find a comfortable space on the floor, and let's begin the 3-step Pelvic Power-Up Protocol together. Movement 1, the glute bridge, the activation. This first movement is our foundation. Its entire purpose is to isolate your glutes and remind your brain that they exist. It's the purest way to reestablish that mind-muscle connection without. Your overeager hamstrings or lower back are trying to take over the job. Here's how we do it. Lie on your back, bend your knees, and place your feet flat on the floor, about hip-width apart. You should be able to just about touch your heels with your fingertips. Let your arms rest by your sides, with your palms down for stability. Now, before you even think about lifting, I want you to perform the most important part of the exercise. With your hips still on the ground, just squeeze your glutes. Clench them together as if you're trying to hold a $100 bill between them. That specific sensation of deep muscular contraction is what we are chasing. Okay, you've found them. Now, leading with that squeeze, begin to drive your hips up toward the ceiling. Don't think about arching your back. Think about pushing the floor away with your feet and driving your hips forward, using only that powerful glute contraction. Your body should form a straight, solid line, from your shoulders to your knees. There should be no dip in your hips and no exaggerated arch in your lower back. At the very top of the movement, pause and squeeze your glutes with maximum intensity for 2 full seconds. 1, 2. This peak contraction is where you are rewriting the neurological code. This is the wake-up call. Then, with full control, slowly lower your hips back down to the starting position. Don't just flop down. Control the descent. That's 1 repetition. I want you to perform 15 of these. Focus entirely on initiating with the glutes and that powerful 2-second squeeze at the top. This is the spark that ignites the powerhouse. Movement 2, the bodyweight squat, the integration. Now that the glutes are awake and firing, we need to teach them how to work as part of a team. During one of the most fundamental human movements, a properly performed squat is not a quad exercise. It is a full-body movement driven by the hips and glutes. Let's do this together. Stand with your feet about shoulder width apart, perhaps a little wider. Your toes should be pointed slightly outwards, maybe 15 degrees. Keep your chest held high and your gaze straight ahead. The squat does not begin by bending your knees. It begins by sending your hips back. Imagine you are trying to sit down in a chair that is just a little too far behind you. That hip hinge is what loads the glutes. As your hips go back, allow your knees to bend and focus on driving your knees outwards in the same direction as your toes. This external rotation of the hip is crucial for glute activation. Lower yourself as far as you can while keeping your back straight and your heels firmly planted on the floor. At the bottom, your hips should be working to keep your knees out and your posture stable. Now, the most important part, the ascent. Drive through your heels with force. As you rise, I want you to think about one thing: squeezing your glutes together as powerfully as you can. This glute squeeze is what drives your hips forward and brings you back to a standing position. At the very top, stand tall and give one final powerful clench, as if you're cracking a walnut between your cheeks. That's a perfect glute dominant squat. Perform 12 repetitions, focusing on that feeling of driving out of the bottom with pure glute power. Movement 3, the couch hip thrust, the strengthening. We've activated, we've integrated, and now we build pure functional strength. The hip thrust is the undisputed king of glute building exercises, and its movement pattern has the most direct carryover to developing unshakable pelvic power and control. You'll need a sturdy couch, chair, or bed. Sit on the floor with your upper back resting against the edge of it. Place your feet flat on the floor, hip width apart, with your knees bent. Now, driving through. Your heels, thrust your hips upwards until your torso is parallel to the floor. Your body should form a bridge. At the top, your shins should be vertical, creating a 90-degree angle. At your knee, keep your chin tucked slightly to your chest to protect your neck. The focus here is a violent, powerful squeeze of the glutes at the peak of the movement. Hold that peak contraction for a second, feeling the full force of your body's powerhouse engaged. Lower your hips back down with control. That's 1 rep. I want you to perform 15 of these. This is where we forge the raw strength that creates that rock-solid, anchored feeling. Perform this simple 3-exercise protocol, bridge, squat, thrust, 3 times a week. Be patient and consistent. You are not just building muscle. You are rebuilding a fundamental connection that is your birthright as a man. What you just did was far more than a simple muscle-building routine. You began a profound conversation with your nervous system and started to physically restructure your body's foundation. Let me explain the precise biomechanics at play so you understand why this is a true game changer for erectile power. Your pelvis is not static, block of bone. It's a dynamic girdle that must be stabilized by a powerful network of muscles. Your glutes are the undisputed chief stabilizers of this system. When they are strong and active, they create a solid, reliable anchor for your entire core. This stability is critical for two reasons. First, it provides a perfect platform for your pelvic floor muscles to do their job correctly. Instead of constantly tensing up to compensate for weak glutes, the pelvic floor can relax when it needs to and contract powerfully when required to maintain rigidity and prevent venous leakage, the phenomenon of blood escaping. An erection. A strong foundation allows the specialized players to excel. Second, strong glutes correct your posture. Years of sitting cause the pelvis to tilt forward, which shortens the muscles at the front of your hips, your hip flexors. This tension can create a physical pinch point on the critical arteries that supply blood to the penis. By strengthening your glutes, you pull your pelvis back into a neutral, powerful position. You are literally creating more physical space for blood to flow freely and forcefully. You are upgrading the entire hydraulic system. So, how do we accelerate this process and integrate it into your life? Here are 3 powerful upgrades. First, the daily neurological ping. Your glutes went to sleep because you stopped talking to them. So, let's talk to them all day. Every hour, stand up and perform 5-10-second glute squeezes. Squeeze them as hard as you possibly can. This isn't about growth. It's about sending a constant repeating signal from your brain to the muscle, reinforcing that neural highway and making the connection automatic. Second, the mobility unlock. Tight hip flexors literally put the brakes on your glutes. We need to release those brakes. Spend 30 seconds on each side, once a day, in a simple way. Kneeling hip flexor stretch. Kneel on one knee, place the other foot in front of you, and gently push your hips forward while squeezing the glute of the kneeling leg. This simple stretch will unlock your glutes' true power. Finally, a lifestyle integration. Walk with your glutes. The next time you are walking, I want you to shift your focus. Instead of just pulling yourself forward with the front of your legs, I want you to consciously think about pushing the ground away behind you with every single step using your glutes. This turns walking from a passive activity into a continuous, low-level glute activation exercise. You are reteaching your body to use its powerhouse for its intended purpose. This is about rebuilding yourself from the foundation up. Imagine moving through your life feeling completely anchored in your own body. Imagine the deep confidence that comes from being rock solid and stable, not just during moments of intimacy, but every time you stand, walk, and move. This is the difference between superficial strength and a deep, primal power that radiates from your very center. It is a power that you can feel and that your partner will feel too. The ability to feel this way is not outside of you. It's sleeping in the largest muscles you own. You now have the blueprint to wake them up and rebuild your own foundation of strength. Your journey starts with a single conscious contraction. I invite you to join our community in the 7-day Glute Activation Challenge. The mission: perform just one set of 15 glute bridges with perfect form every single day for 1 week. That's it. Commit to rebuilding your foundation by commenting, "I'm in below," subscribe and turn on notifications because this is just the beginning. Together, we are building stronger men.